Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today in this Minecraft tutorial. Alright, so you've laid enough TNT to level a small mountain, and now you're ready to detonate the TNT and your graphics card. There's several ways to do this, and I've demonstrated in this video what I think are the most useful methods. I've split the video up into parts, and there's timestamps in the description below that correlate with each one, so you can skip through the video or go back to rewatch easily. Alright, so let's get started. So the first method is by far the easiest, and it's going to work best for you if you're working in creative mode when putting distance between yourself and the explosion isn't necessary. And for this we're going to be using flint and steel. So open your item list by pressing E on your keyboard and click on the search tab in the top right corner. In the search box, start typing flint and steel, and you can see it populate right there. If you left click on this with your mouse, it will select it. From there you can just drag it down to your inventory and left click again to drop it in, and we can see it populate down here in our inventory. Click the escape button to get out of this window, and we're ready to go. Now if you have no highlighted boxes down in your inventory, or if the wrong box is highlighted, the number pad on your keyboard actually correlates 1 through 9 with the items in your box down there. So if I tap the number 1, it'll have that selected, number 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Or you can use the roller on your mouse to select. So once we've got our flint and steel selected, all we have to do is walk close enough to the TNT so that that little shadow outline is selected on the TNT. From there, all we got to do is right click on the mouse, and 4 seconds later, there we go. So our TNT detonates. So the range for a block of TNT, and this is true for any of these methods, is going to be about 7 or 8 blocks in any direction. Now I'm in a flat world here, and that's the end of the world right there. But normally, if you're just in a regular seeded world, you won't have that issue. The other thing to note is that a block of TNT that is detonated will also detonate other blocks of TNT within that 7 or 8 block range, and the results can be pretty explosive. Alright, so here we are at method number 2. Now this is going to be when we start to move into some of the methods that require you to be further away from the explosion. So this is good if you're doing survival mode, or if you just want to watch from a distance. So this is actually going to be using a flaming bow and arrow. So a few things we're going to need from our inventory. Tap E to open that inventory, and you need an anvil. You need a bow. And you need the flame book. Drop all 3 of those into your inventory. Hit the escape button, and here we go. Alright, so drop your anvil in, select it on the inventory list, and then right click somewhere to drop that in. Walk up to it, right click on it again. Now this is where we kind of open into, you'll see this with crafting tables, anvils, some other things. It's where you can combine 2 different items to make something else. So for this, drop in your bow and drop in your enchanted book, and you can see we have a bow of flame here. Left click on that to select it and drop it into your inventory. And that is all we need. So I'm going to get rid of the anvil here because we don't need it, and I'm going to select our bow. Now if you hold the right click button, you can see we get our bow pulled back and we get ready to aim. So just select the TNT in your aim and then just release the right arrow key or the right button, and there we go, our TNT has detonated. Alright, so our third method here gets a little more complicated, but it's also one of my favorite methods to detonate TNT, and that is actually using a redstone fuse and a switch or a pressure plate. So we open our inventory, click on redstone. We see redstone dust right here. So we're going to need redstone dust, and we're going to need a redstone repeater. And I'll show you why in a little bit. So drop those 2 into your inventory, And actually, while we're here, let's get a pressure plate too. So if you type pressure plate into there, let's grab us a stone pressure plate and drop that into our inventory as well. Alright, so what we're going to do is select our redstone dust, and then we're actually going to use the right click button to lay a path of redstone dust to each one of these blocks of TNT, and that is because you can detonate more than one block of TNT at the same time using this method. Alright, now that we've got those both laid out, I want to bring up this redstone repeater. And we have that because a redstone path can only be 15 blocks long before we actually have to put a repeater in. So I'm going to drop one of those in right about here. Left click to remove the redstone dust, right click to drop in the repeater. You got to make sure that you actually put it in line. Alright, so we've got our redstone dust in, we've got our redstone repeater in. I'm going to drop another one in right here just for make sure. And there we go. All we have to do now is step on our pressure plate and both of the TNTs detonate at the same time. So the fourth and final method is good if you want to detonate TNT from a distance, but you don't want to go hunting for an enchanted book or redstone. So let's hop into our inventory, and for this we need a bow and arrow, or actually just a bow, and we need a pressure plate, but specifically a wooden pressure plate. A stone pressure plate will not work for this. So grab that, drop that into your inventory, and take your wooden pressure plate and drop it right next to the TNT. Very important that it's right next to it. Now from there, use your bow and arrow and simply shoot an arrow at the wooden pressure plate. Now if you shoot an arrow just at a normal arrow at TNT, it will not do anything. But if you shoot it at the wooden pressure plate right next to it, there we go, our TNT primes and detonates. Alright, so there you go, the 4 methods of detonating TNT that I thought would be most valuable for you. A couple of notes to leave you with. Number 1 is that TNT is great for clearing large areas or strip mining, but there's a good chance it'll also destroy many of the valuable blocks you may be looking for that you would get if you had just used a pickaxe or another tool. Number 2, detonating large amounts of TNT will lag your game, depending on your computer. And number 3, once TNT is primed, it will explode. There's no way to unprime it, so just be mindful of that. Alright, that's it. Thank you again for watching this video. I hope it provided you value. If it did, drop a like and consider subscribing for new videos every week. I'll see you in the next one.